All right, welcome in. 49ers update time. I talked about the midterm grades yesterday. Well, those are now up on the San Francisco Standard. We're starting with defense, midterm marks with a question. Is this one of the best secondaries in football? This might surprise some, but I think that with some of the youth talent infusion that we've seen over the past few weeks, it is something that is plausible. The 49ers secondary ranks number 2 in pass defense in all of football. That's defense adjusted value over average, DVOA. Formerly from Football Outsiders, Aaron Schatz developed it. Now he works for FTN. But he's got the 49ers as the number 2 pass defense in all of football. Now, run defense-wise, they still aren't where they need to be. They rank number 19 in DVOA. However, I think that the fruits of the 49ers' labor to build a secondary that can lead this defense, if it needs to lead this defense, I think that some of those fruits are starting to pay off. So this is up on the San Francisco Standard. We can look at the 49ers coverage metrics. It's not just the secondary, it's the linebackers and the cornerbacks, the safeties, and then also the linebackers on top of that comprise the 49ers coverage score. Darker colors are better in that rating column on the right. Lighter colors mean worse performance. I divided this up into cornerbacks at the top, linebackers in the middle, and safeties at the very bottom. But what we've seen for the 49ers is an evolution defensively. One, at the cornerback position, Deommodore Lenoir is having an all-pro caliber season. And Fred Warner talked about this the other day on his podcast. He said, older, more established stars need to do their duty and prop up their younger teammates who are worthy of Pro Bowl, All-Pro consideration, those types of awards. And Warner went to bat for Deommodore Lenoir, who's putting up a hell of a season. Now, I find it really, really interesting because I remember in 2019 when Fred Warner was a youngster, second year in the league, it was Richard Sherman who was propping up Fred Warner. Richard Sherman helped Fred Warner become a household name by lobbying for him. You see the culture, the good culture passed down, leadership passes down, and now Fred Warner is doing what Richard Sherman once did for the 49ers. Anyway, we take a look at what this secondary has done. Deommodore Lenoir has allowed a rating of only 63.4 into his coverage. 63.4. That's really, really damn effective. Charvarius Ward has played 2 straight really good games for the 49ers. I get it. He got off to a slow start to the season, and now he's obviously dealing with that tragedy inside his family with his 1-year-old daughter passing away on Monday morning. But when we talk about how Charvarius Ward has performed on the football field, the past 2 games, I think, have underlined his value to this team. And so does this stat right here, yards allowed per cover snap. Ward is still allowing less than Deommodore Lenoir, no matter how well Lenoir is playing. You want to keep this under 1.2 yards per cover snap. Lenoir is doing that. Ward is keeping it under 1, which is excellent. And part of that is because I don't think that his actual coverage at the point of the throw has been as good as Deommodore Lenoir's this season. But part of it is opponents just don't want to throw in Charvarius Ward's direction. We saw it in week 1. Aaron Rodgers threw only to the side opposite of Charvarius Ward. Since then, we've seen them pick on Mooney a little bit more often, but still, the stats here don't lie. The production against him on a per-snap basis has not been great. So while Deommodore Lenoir has been great at the catch point, we've seen the interception millions of times now against the Cowboys. That was just an awesome, awesome play from Demo. And whereas Charvarius Ward has struggled a little bit more, Charvarius is an all-pro last season. He still has a reputation that misbalances opposing offenses. And I would say that Ward and Lenoir, this is as good of a 1-2 punch at corner as there is in the entire National Football League. I mean, these guys, cornerback 1, cornerback 2, whichever way you want to order it, between Ward and Lenoir have been impressive as hell for the 49ers. So then it becomes a matter of who's going to be corner number 3. Because the way that the 49ers run this, it becomes very, very important. This season, we have seen Deommodore Lenoir take about twice as many snaps in the slot as he's taken outside. Whenever the 49ers run into a nickel package, Deommodore Lenoir is the cornerback that moves inside. 298 snaps at nickel corner, 116 snaps at outside cornerback, which means that you need a third cornerback on the field in those scenarios. That third corner started as Isaac Yiadom, but as you can see, Isaac Yiadom, he was giving up 101.4 rating into his coverage, wasn't turning the ball over. And the yards per cover snap, I mean, it was solid, but it wasn't great. Look what the rookie Renardo Green has done ever since assuming the majority of the playing time over Isaac Yiadom 2 games ago. 0.83 yards per cover snap for Renardo Green. That's the least out of the 49ers corners, and a rating of 83 into his coverage. Obviously buoyed by that interception against Seattle. So when we talk about upward mobility of the 49ers defense, and I put this screenshot up yesterday, this was a look at where the 49ers are efficiency-wise as a football team. You want to be further to the right and further up. The defense is measured by how high up your logo is here. The 49ers want to incrementally continue to improve, and the defense is ranked in the top 7 of DVOA so far, but and number 2 against the pass. If you want to continue to improve, those youngsters, the guys that just took over spots, and that's Renardo Green at the cornerback position and Malik Mustafa at safety, they're going to have to continue to improve and leave a mark. And based on what we've seen here from the coverage divisions for the 49ers this year, Renardo Green is making his mark. Down here at safety, look at this. Malik Mustafa is making his mark. Jair Brown is playing much better, and John Lynch was able to acknowledge that when he spoke to KNBR the other day. I think the 49ers started this season with a concerning level of performance at safety. Jair Brown wasn't playing his best football, and George Odom is a special teams ace. He was thrust into action because Talanoa Hufanga wasn't ready to come off of injured reserve yet, and somebody like Malik Mustafa wasn't ready to start yet. You see the numbers for George Odom are not pretty in coverage, but the numbers for Malik Mustafa are downright excellent. He's allowing 0.12 yards per cover snap, and he's also an intimidating tackler for the 49ers. He's going to hold on to that starting job as long as he stays healthy this season. I think it's become clear that that's how good Malik Mustafa is. And Jair Brown's play has raised as well. Interception this past game against Dak Prescott on the deep ball that Nick Bosa affected with his pass rush, and a rating of only 76.3 allowed into his coverage. So safety, much better. Lenoir, excellent. Ward playing much better. Renardo Green has given the 49ers an upgrade over Isaac Yiadom. And for all those reasons, this 49ers pass defense is now, again, number 2 in defense adjusted value over average, number 2 in the entire NFL. Where can they improve? Well, we talk about the linebacker position. Warner's great. Warner's leading all NFL defenders in pass coverage grade, but it's about the other spots that can be hurt in coverage. And Devondre Campbell hasn't been very good. This is where you look at the potential return for Dre Greenlaw. We've been talking about it a lot. Dre can return for the 49ers at just even a reasonable level of a fraction of his effectiveness before. He could potentially give San Francisco better pass coverage than what they're seeing outside of Warner. Because although you see decent numbers here from somebody like the rating number from Demetrius Flangen-Foles, he's given up way too many yards per cover snap. And actually that might be a typo that I have to fix. I don't think it's that high. I think it might be 1.2, but still, he's only has 39 snaps in coverage, Demetrius Flangen-Foles. And D. Winters, well, this is somebody who only has 44 snaps in coverage, coming off the concussion protocol now for the 49ers. Obviously not somebody who they've trusted enough to insert into big-time action. Campbell and Warner are the 2 players of over 50 cover snaps. They're both at over 260. So the 49ers could badly use Dre Greenlaw. Now the question is, how close to 100% is he going to be when he returns into the fold for the 49ers? Now, I talk about all of that in this article up on the San Francisco standard. And that's all great. Those are all pass defense metrics for the 49ers, but we haven't yet talked about the run defense metrics. And that's where this team still needs to take a step up. And that's where we could start talking about the trade deadline, what they might do in that regard. We can put up the quick look at the pass rush, because this is going to be tied in with what the 49ers are doing in every aspect of their defense. But you have to stop the run to have some fun, right? The pass rush, this is a look at the coverage. We got to get the pass rushes right here. The pass rush has a lot of good things going on. They've got a lot of, you want the darker colors here. This is a percentile grade of pass rushing productivity. So at edge rusher, which is in the top half of this table, you've got Bosa, you've got Floyd, you've got Sam Okawanu, all as above average performers. Gross Matos has been dealing with a knee injury. He's expected back middle of next month. He could raise his score when he comes back. And then at defensive tackle, surprisingly maybe to some, because the 49ers, they have dealt with some issues, including some injury issues, the loss of Javon Hargrave. They've got a lot of good performers in the pass rush percentile-wise, including Hargrave, who they're missing right now. I know Jordan Elliott's not scoring well, but he's a good run stopper. But that's really where the 49ers need to get a bit better, is in that run-stopping facet at defensive tackle. Again, they rank number 19 at DVOA against the run. Jordan Elliott's more of a run stopper. That's why he's only second percentile in pass rushing score. But what are the 49ers going to do about the key to unlock the ability to rush the passer? What are the 49ers going to do to make the run defense a little bit better? I think it's gotten a little bit better actually since Hargrave got hurt, because it's forced them to play guys like Elliott more. But I think the pass rush has lost a little bit of steam because of that. So the massive question before November 5th here is, who do the 49ers pursue? Do they finalize a deal for somebody that can play on the interior of the line? That's why we've been talking about Davon Godchaux, the big 330-pound defensive tackle for the New England Patriots. That's why some people have even talked about Dalvin Tomlinson. I think that at both groups, defensive end and defensive tackle, the 49ers can definitely use more depth. I don't think they need a top-end edge rusher. I don't think they needed a top-end defensive tackle. I think they needed somebody who could stuff the run, that could set the edge at both of these positions, tackle and defensive end respectively. And if the more darker colors they can get in this right side, pass rushing wise, the better. I don't think there's been a glaring problem with the 49ers pass rush, but I do think that the run defense has been subpar, and that has hurt the 49ers pass rush, which can always be better. You can always add more to the lower margins on the roster. Anyway, that's all up there on the piece, up on the San Francisco Standard. I went through the DVOA rankings of the offense and defense and the balance the 49ers have to attain, went through the pass coverage metrics and the pass rush metrics. And of course, I wrote a lot. I could show the whole article to you right now. We went through everything right there. So go ahead and check that out. The link to the San Francisco Standard in this piece is in the description. I'm going to go ahead and answer a few questions on what is now Thursday evening where I'm at. I know afternoon, most of you on the West Coast. We have people talking about potential trades. Azeez Ojulari seems to be a very common name that people talk about. And Ojulari can give the 49ers more of a pass rush boost, but at 240 pounds, I think people need to realize that a big end might be something the 49ers need more at this time. They're getting after the quarterback fine. They're covering fine. They're evolving in that phase of the game. Remember, at this point of the 2021 season, the 49ers ranked number 23 in defensive EPA. Number 23. That was this point, 2021, new defensive coordinator. That was D'Amico Ryans. And then from the midway point on, they ranked number 6. They went from number 23 over the first half of the season to number 20 to number 6 later. This defense is ranked number 12 in EPA, number 6 in DVOA, which is defense or offense adjusted. So they're not as bad as they were in 2023 in the first half of the season. under D'Amico Ryans before he figured out the ropes, but they're still not at the levels that we've seen from them in recent years, especially 2022. But the fascinating thing this season is that the pass defense is so good and has scored so well and has become better as the season has gone along. I opened the article up on the screen saying, yes, it was concerning they gave up those 2 touchdowns against Dallas, but we can also contextualize those. We can also recognize that 2 defenders collided with each other on one of those plays, Jair Brown and Renardo Green, and we can say that's probably not going to happen again. I think the bigger, longer standing issue that I've been talking about for months, maybe over a year now at this point, is the 49ers struggles against the run. The most likely target for John Lynch, Zadarius Smith. That's what Invader 49er thinks. Good 32-year-old edge rusher. You would certainly be able to bolster the top half of this equation, where Sam Okawanu has been revelatory for the 49ers. It's been awesome that they've been able to get the type of production that they have, over 96 pass rushing snaps for him. But that's really tenuous depth behind Nick Bosa and Leonard Floyd. You always want to add more to that. Steve asks if Green is going to be back after the bye. I think so. Low ankle sprain, day to day. A lot of people are talking about DJ Jones and trading with Denver for players, and this is correct. Denver is 5-3. They're in the thick of things at the moment. In that light, they may not be a seller. Brian asks if I can show the rankings for the O-line. Keep seeing comments about the right side. But in his opinion, Pooney and McKivitz have been playing well together. You are correct. I put some of those rankings on Twitter the other day. I'm going to have a big piece tomorrow coming out on the San Francisco Standard that looks like this one, except it's going to be for the offense, where I'll have the rankings. McKivitz is much better than last year across the board. And I think that second year experience as a starter is a big part of that. But I also think that Dominic Pooney has helped be a tide that rises, the rising tide that lifts all boats, including Colton McKivitz from that right guard position. Any free agents that I think are interesting? No, we're not in free agency right now. Guys are either signed, or if they're just sitting out there on the street right now without a team, it's hard to say that they're very good players. That's why we're in trade season right now. We're not in free agency season. You want Cortland Sutton from Denver? I don't know if that's going to happen. Plus, everybody talking about the Broncos, this is a winning team. Bo Nix is playing a lot better football. Somebody like DJ Jones is a key part of their defense. Everybody is still operating under the assumption that Denver is going to want to continue to sell, but that's just not the reality of the situation. Colton McKivitz ranked as the 6th best tackle last week. I didn't see that on PFF, but he is playing much better football. He's run blocking a lot better than he did last season. Where's Brendel standing at center? I thought I just reviewed the defense, guys, but I guess I'll ask offensive questions. He's about middle of the pack. Brendel's been playing better as well. John Feliciano going to be a 6th man for the 49ers. I don't think he's going to usurp any healthy linemen's starting spot. Now, big key for the defense, they're going to have to be better on third down for the 49ers. They've given up 44% of conversions on third down. It's not good enough. That's ranks like number 24 in the NFL. So they have to get better on third down, but I think they have the tools to continue to improve, because the safety position's gotten a lot better. Defensive line, we'll see if they add a body or two at that position before the deadline. They have in years past. As I illustrated, it would make sense this year. And then linebacker, that's where the big return of Dre Greenlaw might be coming, and that can really help the 49ers defense as well. Thanks for all your good questions. Check out the article. It is up on the San Francisco Standard. I've superimposed it here on the screen. Click on that link. Sign up. Do everything that you need to. We'll talk to you in a little bit. This is Thursday Night Football night. Aaron Rodgers and the Jets trying to save their season against the Houston Texans. So we'll get to see D'Amico Ryans, who I was just talking about. He's coaching tonight against Rodgers and company. Could be fun. CJ Stroud against Rodgers. Good game on Thursday night. Leave your questions, leave your comments. I'll answer them later. We'll talk to you soon.